All right, well, grade 8, we are moving right along here. Simplify the expression, write your answer as a power. So we're moving along here in chapter 8. Whenever we are dividing exponents that have the same base number, which is basically what we're going to be working on today, all it is a subtraction of the exponents. So when we have like this one, 9 to the power of 7 divided by 9 to the power of 4, that's going to equal 9 to the power of 3. We just do 7 minus 4, and it equals 3. Now, some of these problems are going to look different, and they're going to be in different sections on your assignment, but the directions are all the same. So we're talking about simplify the expression, write your answer as a power. So your answer is always going to need to be written as an exponent. 4 to the power of 6 over 4.2 to the power of 6 being divided by 4.2 to the power of 5. Well, we do 6 minus 5, and that's 1. Now, we typically will not use an exponent of 1. Sometimes you'll see it, but as a general rule, we don't do that. Whenever it's to the power of 1, it's just whatever the base number is. So instead of 4.2 to the power of 1, we're just going to write 4.2. All right, negative 8 to the power of 8 divided by negative 8 to the power of 4. Now, once again, they're putting negative 8 in parentheses because they want you to understand that it's negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. And if you don't put the parentheses like this, if we had this, it would just be 8 to the power of 8, and whatever it is, we put a negative sign in front of it. That's why you put the quotations or the parentheses to show that it's clearly negative 8 being multiplied over and over again. But once again, it's just 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. So this is going to end up equaling negative 8 in parentheses to the power of 4. All right, moving right along. X to the power of 8 divided by x to the power of 3. Well, 8 minus 3 is 5. So this is just going to be x to the power of 5. Final answer. Now it starts to get a little bit interesting. Now there's actually some math problems within what we're doing. So here we have 6 to the power of 7 times 6 to the power of 3. Well, remember when I multiply and they have the same base number, we're adding the exponent. So it's just 7 to the power of 3, which becomes 6 to the power of 10. It's the power of 7 and the power of 3. We're adding the 7 and the 3. That makes 6 to the power of 10. So then we're dividing that by 6 to the power of 5. Then it just becomes 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. So this whole answer becomes 6 to the power of 5. Not hard, 8th grade. Not hard at all. 2 to the power of 15 being divided by 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 5. Well, we're going to leave our 2 to the power of 15 alone. 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 5 is 2 to the power of 8, because 3 plus 5 is 8. This now is a division problem. 2 to the power of 15 divided by 2 to the power of 8. 15 minus 8 is 7. So my final answer is 2 to the power of 7. All right, moving right along. M to the power of 8 times m to the power of 6 being divided by m to the power of 5. Well, 8 and 6 make 14. So this starts by being m to the power of 14. I'm dividing that then by m to the power of 5. M to the power of 5. All right. So now I have 14 minus 5, because now I have a division problem. Well, 14 minus 5 is 9. So that tells me that this whole thing equals m to the power of 9. Final answer. All right, we're moving right along. Okay, now there's multiple problems here going on. All sorts of things going on. Still not hard. Once again, we're putting the negative numbers in parentheses to show that it's a negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5, as opposed to, and I'll just point it out again, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, all the way up to 7, and then just putting a negative sign in front of it. It does make a difference in how you approach the problem when there's no parentheses and here where there's parentheses. So these are multiplication problems first. Well, 7 plus 6 is 13. So I'm going to start with negative 5 in parentheses to the power of 13. Well, then I come to the denominator part. 5 plus 2 is 7. So this is going to be over negative 5. That's not very good. Negative 5 to the power of 7. Now it's just a division problem, so I'm just subtracting 13 minus 7. Well, that's 6. So the whole thing is going to be negative 5 in parentheses to the power of 6. Final answer. Not hard. Grade 8. You can handle this, no problem. This one looks a little different, but it doesn't change anything. D times 5 times over D divided by D times 9 over D times 8. Now, you can do these a couple of different ways, and I'm going to, so basically though, we're going to treat it just like multiplying fractions. We go D times 5 times D times 9, or D to the power of 5 times D to the power of 9, which is going to be D to the power of 14, because 5 times 9 is 14. D, there's no number, so we know that that's a 1, just like when there's no number in front of a variable, we understand that it's 1. So we're thinking 1 plus 8, and that's 9. So that's D to the power of 9. This now becomes a division problem. D to the power of 14 divided by D to the power of 9. That whole thing is going to be D to the power of 5. All right? Now, if I was to do this a little bit differently, let's think about it here. If I wanted to take care of this, I'm just going to point this out. D to the power of 5 divided by D to the power of 1. Well, 5 minus 1 is 4, so that would be D to the power of 4. D to the power of 9 divided by D to the power of 8. Well, 9 minus 8 is 1, so that would be D to the power of 1, or just D. And when I multiply those together, I still get D to the power of 5. Because there's a 1 here. 4 plus 1 is 5. Just a different way to approach it. You get the same answer. All right, this one here, well, let's break this up here. P to the power of 3 times P to the power of 6. Well, 3 plus 6 is 9. So this becomes P to the power of 9 over P to the power of 2. All right, well, P to the power of 9 over P to the power of 2 divided by 9 minus 2 is 7. So that all becomes P to the power of 7. Well, P to the power of 4 divided by P, there's nothing to combine here like there was here. There's a 1 because there's nothing there, so it's like 4 minus 1. Well, that's 3. So I'm taking P to the power of 7, which is what I got here, times P to the power of 3. Well, when I multiply, remember, I'm adding. So 7 plus 3 is 10. I get P to the power of 10. All right. We'll talk to you later, grade 8. Bye.